Coming up at 10, who won the 2019 Boxing Day Junkanoo Parade? We have the official results. Abaconians outraged over a new tourism ad. Changes to the high school curriculum.
Our news is brought to you by Alive.
Welcome to Our News and thanks for joining us. I'm Kyle Joaquin. The official results of the 2019 Boxing Day and New Year's Day Junkanoo parades have been released, and the Shell Saxon Superstars is the winner of both parades. However, it's the resignation of the Valley Boys that has caused an uproar within the Junkanoo community.
The Valley Boys is one group in that pie. So we have six other Category A groups. The JCNP represents the collective. So we look out for the best interests of all of our groups.
Junkanoo Corporation of New Providence Chairman Dion Miller refusing to go into detail about a letter the JCNP received from the Valley Boys notifying the organization of the group's resignation from upcoming Junkanoo parades if the Independent Review Committee and its subsequent recommendations are allowed. As a result of meetings held by that review committee last week, the results of the 2019 Boxing Day Junkanoo Parade were changed, with the Saxons swiping first place away from the Valley Boys.
In second position, they were penalized 3 points with a score of 81.44, the Valley Boys. And the winner of the Boxing Day 2019 parade is Saxons with a score of 85.01.
When contacted today, Valley Boys Chairman Brian Adderley said the group no longer has confidence in the JCNP. And when pressed for a response to the Valley Boys' concerns, the JCNP chairman agreed some changes must be made.
I think the IRC process needs to be revamped. It's a bit outdated. It's too lengthy for me. I think that within 24, 48 hours, the parade should be final, should be done, and we can move on. So I'm leaning towards that, where we could streamline the process, make this quicker, noting that people want to celebrate, people want to move on with their lives, etc., etc. So I am of the view that we need to upgrade and improve the process of penalties in general.
The JCNP in its statement wished the Valley Boys well in its future endeavors. Miller said while the JCNP disagrees with some parts of the committee's report, which he said will be made public, their decision is final.
The JCNP groups nominates every year persons to serve on the IRC. Those persons don't solicit the JCNP. We find those independent-minded body persons. They come and do this job and they review the parades on our behalf. After protest is launched, like I said, they meet, they do whatever investigations they deem necessary, and they come up with their determination. Their determinations is final and binding.
It's been a month now since the Valley Boys got front page of newspapers and all the bragging rights that come along with a Boxing Day win, only to be left stunned and confused last week when social media reports began circulating that the official results had the Saxons as the rightful winner. So, with one of the two juggernauts of Junkanoo threatening to leave Bay Street, we asked the JCNP about concerns surrounding the integrity of the Junkanoo judging process.
Well, Kyle, that's a normal occurrence. Everyone knows the process. This process, all the groups would have known this process in order they would have understood that this is a possibility that depending on success of a protest, things can change. That is why we term when it's first called unofficial.
Well, water in North Andros has tested positive for E. coli, according to Health Minister Dr. Dwayne Sands, who says residents of that island have been advised to use bottled water as officials seek to address the issue. Georgia Bain reports.
Minister of Health Dr. Dwayne Sands confirming that E. coli has been detected in groundwater in Andros. The source of the contaminant is still under investigation, according to Sands. The results of water tests from North Andros confirmed the presence of E. coli and fecal streptococcus. A statement released by the Bahamas Agricultural, Health and Food Safety Authority revealed that the investigation into the contamination began January 13th and was expected to conclude on the 24th. According to Sands, his ministry's test also came back positive.
We were asked to do some of the testing, and we did. We wanted to verify that indeed there was contamination of the wells, and there is indeed contamination of the wells in North Andros. The BASFA The Ministry of Agriculture would have put out a press statement. They would have shared that statement with us before it was released. And now the appropriate interventions should follow.
SANS could not confirm if any of the contaminated water samples were taken from BAMSI, which is also in North Andros. The Bahamas Agricultural Health and Food Safety Authority ordered that all fruit and vegetables originating in North Andros undergo standardized treatment at the Department of Agriculture or BAMSI's packing house before shipment is approved. SANS said residents have been notified and encouraged to use bottled water.
Certainly, we don't want people consuming the well water. There's no contamination of the municipal water. And if people are concerned, then they should drink bottled water or boil it or chemically treat the water. But then there are implications in terms of fruit and vegetables, particularly that have breaks in the skin.
SANS said there was no attempt to sweep this issue under the rug and insisted the government is doing everything it can to get to the bottom of it.
It was very important that once we knew that there was a problem, that we notified the public, even as we continue our investigation.
Reporting for R News, I'm Georgie O'Bain.
Fierce backlash over a Ministry of Tourism print campaign that excluded Abaco and Ragged Island as open for business destinations in the Bahamas has prompted Tourism Minister Dionisio de Aguilar to apologize. Irate Abaconians took to social media and described the ad as a slap in the face. Jasmine Brown reports.
The tourism minister's apology came days after Abaco residents expressed outrage over their island not being included as a destination.
And I think that the Abaco residents justifiably got very annoyed that we weren't being aggressive enough in beginning to get the message out that there are properties that are coming back on stream and that they're beginning to reopen. And so I apologize for that.
The minister's apology comes in the wake of Abaco residents voicing their outrage on social media over this photo that appears in a magazine showing Abaco and Ragged Island in gray while other islands are in yellow. Both Abaco and Ragged Island were obliterated by Category 5 storms. Abaco was devastated by Hurricane Dorian in September 2019, while Ragged Island was obliterated by Hurricane Irma in September 2017. The move by the tourism ministry did not sit well with many. Posts like this one asked if Abaco was being written off the map, while others questioned if Abaco was no longer wanted. This Facebook user pointed to the fact that the island is accepting international flights as he called on Ragged Island to join Abaco and move out of the Bahamas. Then there were those who agreed with the move, like this poster, who insisted Abaco is still in a state of crisis, as it questioned why would anyone want to welcome visitors to a place that is still in recovery mode. But unapologetic de Aguilar insisted officials understand why they are upset.
I agree completely, and this is what your population advises your government. The question is, does the government react to it? And I want to let the residents of Abaco know, message received, message heard, and we are adjusting all of our information to incorporate the developments that are ongoing on Abaco.
He also pointed out that the decision to exclude the islands was not a malicious one.
The Ministry of Tourism probably didn't react quickly enough to begin to change the narrative coming out of Abaco. So Abaco is obviously a destination back on the mend. The question is, it's always a balancing act. When to say, don't visit it because it's impacted, it's destroyed, it has no power, it has no water, there's a lot of destruction and devastation around, we don't really want you to go there, to, okay, I think it's time to begin to reconsider a vacation to Abaco.
Reporting for our news, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Work continues on Prince Charles Drive after heavy flooding and a huge hole forced the temporary closure of the busy road Sunday. Despite reports, an official from the Ministry of Works insisted it wasn't a sinkhole. Italia Clark reports.
A major transmission failure and heavy flooding resulted in a large hole on Prince Charles Drive early Sunday morning, causing one motorist to drive straight into the ditch and another into a utility pole. This caused a disruption in electricity and water supply in the eastern area, according to Assistant Engineer in the Ministry of Works, BAHIYYAH HEPBURN.
Around Sunday 1 a.m., it was reported that there was a major leak. Essentially, there was a crack somewhere in the line, and it led to the failure of the road because the amount of pressure from the water in the road compromised the limestone base, which in turn made the asphalt layer fail.
According to a statement from the Water and Sewage Corporation, Around 1 a.m., the corporation's system control began receiving alarms from its SCADA system, along with reports from the public regarding a major water leak along Prince Charles Drive in the area of Sammy's Chicken. As a result, Water and Sewerage said it secured the roadway and shut down the supply along Prince Charles Drive to prevent any further flooding.
It was a little bit of traffic, but you know how yesterday was Sunday, traffic was kind of slow. Okay. So everybody died way through Pine Barren Road to get on to Prince Charles.
Meanwhile, some Bahamians were outraged and took to social media. Priscilla Forbes said, "Is it even safe to work on the road at this time? What if the road caves in again? Very scary." Avery Wilson argued, "That's not a sinkhole, that is poor engineering when they closed the hole up over a water main." And Theo Dawkins said, "We'll never have good roads anywhere in the Bahamas. Thank God nobody got hurt."
It is safe to drive on. When they came yesterday, they took the limestone, they backfilled in layers. It is compacted properly. It is compacted properly. And again, even though it's a temporary measure, the full FDOT reinstatement will be conducted shortly through the water and sewage contractor.
Officials from the Ministry of Works says although there is no estimated time on the complete assessment and restoration to the road works out here today, they want to assure motorists that the road is safe and secure to maneuver on. Reporting for our news, I'm Natalia Clark.
All right, thanks, Natalia. Still to come, why government is changing the public school curriculum. And later, the tragic death of Kobe Bryant hits home for young Bahamian basketball players. Stay tuned.
Check. So all you've been doing on this court was traveling. When you see me travel to go watch my free NBA pass game, I can come back out and smoke it. Spicy.
Free NBA pass.
You know what we're doing? Each month they send a lucky customer on an all-expense-paid trip to the States to watch a game. And even if you don't win that, you could have a local experience because they can pay for all your food and drinks and participate in bars, so you still got a good time, bro.
I could get in on that.
All you have to do is sign up for Trio and you enter the drawing. Ferrari, don't lie.
Get denied like this guy, make sure you come through in the clutch. Sign up for Trio and be a Rev NBA All-Star. Guarantee your chance to win a free trip to an NBA game every month when you sign up for Trio today. Call 601-8992. Terms and conditions apply. Rev, you and us together.
You're watching Our News. Welcome back. Big changes are coming to the curriculum in public high schools and primary schools. The Ministry of Education announced today that subjects like math and economics will be restructured as of September.
Today's students' lack of motivation, some suggest, and often in disengagement, reflects the inability of education systems to connect content with the real-world relevance.
When students head back to the classrooms in September, the curriculum for mathematics will be a bit different. This as the Ministry of Education announced changes to the subject's curriculum, along with business studies and physics.
We want to ensure that our students can go beyond just following directions. We want to equip them to not only be able to see a problem, but to analyze it and to arrive at a solution.
The move is one that has been in the works for years and comes as the ministry notes the worsening of BGCSE results for 2019, with fewer students receiving at least a C in mathematics or English language. Education Director Marcellus Taylor was asked about concerns regarding mathematics and their relevance in everyday life.
I think that's something that people say. I think people think only about what is being taught as a transmission of content, but a lot of times what you're being taught in school is how to think. And especially in something like mathematics, this is what a lot of the topics and exposures provided to students enables them to do. A lot of people also don't know how to apply some of what they have learned to ordinary and everyday life.
The ministry has a goal of increasing the high school graduation rate to 85% by 2030. Currently, only 59% of 12th graders successfully complete high school. According to the education director, there are plans to review each subject's curriculum every 5 years and hire several curriculum officers to assist. Also among the changes to the curriculum will be physical education for primary schoolers. But what about the teachers? With the changes set to take effect in September, we asked whether they were consulted.
It's an ongoing process, but curriculum officers have utilized the workshops that we have on an ongoing basis to expose teachers to elements of these curricular guides. And so the feedback so far has been good, but it's nothing like when they actually implement it, then we assess.
But Bahamas Union of Teachers President Belinda Wilson begs to differ, calling that statement inaccurate and misleading because she has yet to receive the changes to the curriculum.
I know that the curriculum committees may have teachers attached to them, but I see that in isolation. But when you talk about having 4,000 teachers in 180 schools on 24 islands and keys, I contend that the Ministry of Education did not consult with them or did not provide the documentation for them.
Still to come, the Bahamas and U.S. signed the Open Skies Agreement. Stay tuned.
Atlas Jones is what they call
The Minnis administration and United States government signed an Open Skies Agreement during a brief ceremony attended by high-level U.S. officials today. Tourism and Aviation Minister Dionisio Diagler said the signing is significant for the aviation sector.
Today marks another milestone achievement for aviation in the Bahamas. The signing of this agreement between the Commonwealth of the Bahamas and the United States of America will mean that the Bahamas has now successfully concluded 23 air transport agreements. In addition, the Bahamas has successfully negotiated, but not yet concluded, another 28 of these agreements, upon which we are waiting patiently for the other side to secure their necessary regulatory approvals so that we can finalize.
Diagler added the signing also paves the way for future economic growth through increased airlift. He explained that the air service agreement provides financial incentives and internationally agreed rules and regulations that govern how foreign airlines provide services to the Bahamas.
When a foreign carrier expresses an interest in commencing air service to the Bahamas, the regulatory regime is already in place, and service can commence expeditiously without undue bureaucratic delays.
The United States is delighted to welcome the Bahamas this morning to the family of our aviation partners who have seen fit to embrace a liberalized aviation regime with us. Those countries now number more than 125 and include almost all of our important aviation markets.